Hello again and welcome back to my top board games of 2021. It feels like not that long ago I was doing this for 2020. I have a nice list here I can't wait to go over with you. As usual, I'm just ranking all of my board games in my collection. I actually have 10 less than I did last year, but yet I got a ton of new games. So what happened? Two things. Someone who was part of my gaming group almost since the very beginning, he moved away and I wanted to give him a box full of games. So I gave him a ton of games for him to start his own collection with his own, hopefully, new and improved gaming group at his new location. And then another one is I made a massive trade. For one very rare, hard to find game, which I'm going to put on, I have on my list here. And in exchange for that very expensive game, I traded a ton of mediocre games, almost like 20 mediocre games for one, which I was happy with and he was happy with. So we went away with a good deal there. Now, because of that, of course, I got rid of way more games than I collected. I did get, that's not to say I didn't get any new games, got a ton of new games. Some of them were expansions, and I collected a lot of promos over the summer. All my Kickstarters were delayed due to COVID reasons, shipping reasons, and whatnot. They won't be coming in until next year. I would have had 4 or 5 extra games probably added to this list. But oh well, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I waited so long because I was waiting for one game. One game just got to me, but the rest of them will be delayed for next year. Either way, though, I have a fun list here. I'm just going to go over the bottom 8. Now, even though they're at the bottom of my list, I will say this. There are games that left my collection. Several games left my collection this year. So even being on the list means you're special. I'm keeping you for a reason. So even though my number 238 is at the bottom of my list, I still enjoy Santorini. Folks, Santorini plays up to 4 players, but usually it's best to play at 2 or 3. That's why I rarely have it out, because I rarely have a moment where there's just 2 of us, or 3 of us even. I usually have a gaming group of just 4, me and 3 others. However, though, it is a fun game. I liked it more back in the day than I have today. For instance, this has been on my list for 5 years. It debuted at 97 on my list all those years ago because my nephews were all about this game. Now my nephews have cooled off of it, so it's kind of gone down every year. It went to 128, then to 204, then last year it was 247. But because I got rid of so many games, it went up 9 spots. Last on my list went up 9 spots. And that's probably because there were 9 extra games I got rid of this year. We still play this. In fact, oddly enough, someone in my current gaming group told me, and he's played a lot of my games, this is in his top 10. Santorini is in his top 10. So for me, not in my top 10 by far, but only because, like I said, 2 to 3 players. I'm not going to always have times where I have that many people at a game night. Back when I had 6 players coming over every night, yes, I had up to 6, maybe 8, 10 sometimes. I would have a 2-player table, and I put Santorini out all the time. And he remembers, this guy was part of my 6 group that went, and he remembers sitting at the 2-player table and playing a lot of Santorini and having fun. But it's a great game. It looks beautiful at the end of it too. I have a bunch of the promos. I stopped collecting any of the newer promos I don't have, because I'm basically stopped getting anything new for this, because what I have is good enough. And it's, like I said, it's still in my collection, so there you have it, number 238. Number 237 is a game that's in its sophomore season in my collection. That means it's been here for a 2nd straight year, and it is a family game, Who Was It? It's a cooperative game where you're trying to figure who stole the emerald ring. It's electronic, as you're all kind of working together to figure out before time runs out. Of course, a ghost is running through the castle too, trying to disturb you and break up your game. This is for children and families, and if you have smaller kids, you know, in that, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 8 or 9 range, this would be perfect for them and perfect for you too. It is a really fun game. It feels like a hobby game in a way, but the production value is really good. I love playing this game. I played it with my nephew and my niece, who are just at that age. They're about 5. I think now, 4 or 5, and they love it. They have so much fun. I cannot wait for my girls to get older so they can play this. Now, last year it was 239, so it moves up 2 spots as well because it got rid of a few extra games this year, about 10 extra games. But number 236 is also a game in its sophomore year in my collection, and it is Rocky Road a la Mode. I love this little filler game about basically you're selling ice cream out of an ice cream truck. As you're filling up orders, you're getting cards that will either give you victory points or extra bonuses in the game, like an extra ice cream flavor, to make you more powerful or make you achieve goals faster. And once you get to X amount of points, I can't remember what it is, you win the game. I love the theme of this. I love that it's a little box filler. That's why it's still in my collection today. However, I do have a lot of filler games. I do have a lot of them. But I don't know if you feel this way, but it's hard to get rid of a filler game because you're like, well, I don't hate this game and I will get it played. I did get rid of a few filler games this year, but I couldn't get rid of Rocky Road a la Mode. I still love the game, even though this is the one filler game, I think, so far, that we only played once this year, and we never really brought it back out. I don't know why. Maybe because it's hidden somewhere on one of my shelves. It just wasn't there to grab at the end of the day, or while we were waiting for someone real quick, I'll go grab a filler game. It drops a little bit. It was 222 when it first came on my list, so it drops about 14 spots, and mainly it's because it only got played once this year. Number 235 is an amazing looking game, also in its sophomore season, Chteau Rockfort. Or Rockfort. I don't know how you say that last name there. I do have the Cheesy Gonzalez expansion. Someone gave me a really good deal on this because he had kids. They'd grown up. He doesn't play anymore, and so he sold it to me for a good deal. My kids, when they get older, are going to have a fun time playing it, but right now, I'm not having fun playing this. This game is very cool. The pieces look awesome. It's got that mechanic from Labyrinth where you're pushing tiles, but you're trying to get to different types of cheeses to achieve points, to achieve goals. There is a tile that's a trap door that your mouse can fall through and get lost. It falls into the game board. You can't get it back out. You lose it forever. And it does have player elimination, which is why it's going to stay here at the bottom, because you play this with adults, everyone's just teaming up to eliminate one person. They can do that. You can do that. If all 3 people decide, hey, we're getting Matt out first, which is what happened. They got me out first. Then everyone else got, these 2 people teamed up against this person. Then these 2 people just kept moving the trap door over and over until they finally eliminated the other people's mice. It's not that fun. A few people got cheese points, but we've never won this game by cheese. I tried it again this year in its sophomore season. I played it with my nephews. They're in the teenage years, 13 to 16. And they just did the elimination thing too, because why play the game when you can eliminate players? And so I was like, so I got to go even younger this time. Next time I'm going to play with little niece and nephew and see if they'll play nicely. I love the look of this game. I just hate that it's player elimination, and that's all anyone wants to play it as. Last year it was 236, so it goes up 1 spot again, because I got rid of so many games. Number 234 is an old game. It's not a vintage game yet in my collection, but it is a children's game, but I absolutely love it. It is Sharp Mania. This is one of a mass market game that came out years ago, and it is so much fun. It takes probably 15 seconds to put together and 2 minutes to play. And basically all you're doing is rolling dice and either grabbing coin or moving across a bridge. Now there's a shark fin that's on a string. It's getting pulled as you when you hit the start game. It starts reeling in the shark fin, which is plowing through the pier and busting it open, or triggering certain events that are popping up blowing up pieces of the board. So your pirate's trying to get to the island safe, but you only got 2 things when you roll that die. You can grab that many coin or run for it. And if you're playing 4 players, that's where the sweet spot is. You got to run. You can only grab for coins once. And the thing is, coins are different values you won't know until the end of the game. And once you hit the island, when you're safe, you can no longer roll anymore, which I like that rule, because you would just run to get to the island, then run to get as many coins as you could. So it's a game of balance. Now with 2 players, not that good. 3 players, it's fun, but 4 players, ooh, That thing is massive. You are yelling, screaming, laughing. It is a whole lot of fun. Like I said, it just takes a few minutes to play. This game has been in my collection for 5 years now. It was one of my filler games I'd play all the time. It started off at 94, then it's been dropping ever since. It was 122, 202, and last year was 242. It moves up 8 spots too, thanks to all the other games I got rid of. But I did keep this game. I did not get rid of this game, and it moved up on the list because of that. My number 233 has been at the bottom of my list for a long time, but it sincerely moved up. I mean, on top of all the games I got rid of, it did move up a little bit. This is called Roadkill Rally. I love Roadkill Rally. I've explained this game a million times, but of course it's a racing game where you're also shooting the players in front of you, so you don't always want to be in the lead. You're trying to run over pedestrians as well to get points. This is the one with the great figurines. The men are 10. The children, you can run over children for 30 points, and you can run over grandmas with little walkers for 50 points. It's so mean, but it's so funny. The game's hilarious to play. I always have a blast with this. I still have a problem, like I say every year. I hate that you can't play the cards for their benefit. Usually you have to just cash those in as bullets or get rid of them for damage points when you get hit. So you don't really get to use all the cards in your hand. But I did ask someone in my game who's been in my gaming group for a long time. We played it this past year. I said, let me ask you a question. Is this still one of your favorite games of mine? He went, oh yeah, top 10, easily. He'll be glad to know it's not last on my list this year, though. It is a fun game. I just wish you could play some of those cards that you get, because you're always using them for bullets or for damage, to get rid of damage. Roadkill Rally, like I said, been in my collection for 5 years. Started off at number 91, then it's dropped ever since. Went to 125 to 203. Last year it was 248. It goes up 15 spots. Now, of course, I'm 10 games short, so you eliminate that. It still went up 5 games when you look at overall. And it's not dragging the bottom. I think it's been dragging the bottom for the past 2 years too, but now it's moved up. It is a fun game. You can find it for super cheap. And like I said, it's still in my collection. So, hey, I should tell you, if it's still in my collection, it's a good game. I love it. 232 has also been in my collection for 5 years. I mean, these games have been around for forever, and it's kind of a filler game. It's Abandoned Ship. It's dice drafting. Each person starts off with a little token, and underneath is 3 different colors. You may share the same color with some other player, but those 3 colors are unique to that one player. And what you're doing is you're trying to get the mice that match the colors on your token off the ship. Now, the first mouse that gets off the ship, he gets killed off. So that gives that little red herring there as you have the blue and the green maybe mouse moving up. You're like, which one is Matt really rooting for, and which one is the one he just wants to kill and not let you know about? I think that's just brilliant. It's such a fun game. Every round you're flipping over these little tokens to see how low you bring the ship is sinking, and if a rat hits the water, it's out. And this past time we played this, and also when you rank these are based off your experience. And I remember what happened. Everyone chose the anchor option. If anyone knows what the anchor option is, when you choose the anchor option, you choose to drop that mouse that's in the lead all the way down to the next mouse in line. So not many mice were moving up, and it seemed like every round a mouse was dying because the tide kept rising in. It was very high. And so at the end, and I think all the mice died in our game. I didn't know that was even possible, but we killed off every mouse because someone did, move a mouse up to the top, and of course he got squashed and died, and we all kind of laughed. And the only thing we had to win by was cheese. Cheese are like 1 or 2 points, and you have to land exactly. Your mouse has to land exactly on that space for you to get it. And we had to count up our cheese points. So someone won 2 to 1 to 1 to 1. Or 2 to 1 to 1 to 0 or something, I don't know, but it was like just kind of a pathetic game. It drops a little bit or a lot of bit on my list here. It actually drops 32 spots on the list because it was 200 last year. When it first appeared on my list, it was number 71, then went to 86, then went to 139. And of course last year was 200, but just because of that terrible game we played, and we never did play this again after that. I only played it once, moved on to another game. So it drops a little bit, but that's just because the experience wasn't as good. And number 231, it's been in my collection for 4 years. This kind of hurts hurts my heart. This is kind of low because I do love this game, Corrigans. I love Corrigans. You're these leprechauns, and you're moving around the board, and you're trying to collect these gold shamrock coins. You flip them over, and you take some. Some of them are gold coins, which count for points at the end of the game. Some of them are forest friends, which you need to move around the board. You need squirrels and rabbits to go from hedge to hedge or pathway to pathway. If you want to go across, you want to travel by river, which can be faster, you need a frog. If you want to travel using the mole's tunnels to shortcuts, you got to have the mole as your friend. And if you have a bird, you know, you can go to different areas of the same color and really move around the game. And that's the thing, you need maneuverability to move around to get to all these little places. And then when you've ate up all the little coins, you grab the stalagmite piece that's at the end of the game, and that can be a blessing or a curse to you. It can be with positive or negative points. Sometimes it can eliminate a player's player shield, which is awful, because then you have to lay out all your goods and let everyone know what you have. This game is so much fun. We only get to play it during St. Patty's Day, though. I just never bring it out anything else. It's perfect for a St. Patty's Day game, but I play other holiday-themed games all year round. Just this one I just don't. I don't know why. I always think about it around St. Patty's Day, and we always bring it out, and we always have a great time, because at the end, I should mention, you're spending these foresty friends. You get to keep them permanently in the regular game, but at the end of the game, you're all trying to find the pot of gold. I've explained this a million times, but at the end of the game, someone places the pot of gold down, and then using each animal only once, you're trying to move both of your leprechauns to that pot of gold. You know, you get one there, you get some bonus points, you get both there, you get more bonus points. It's a colorful game. The figurines are great. All the leprechauns look different. It is so much fun to play. I love this game. Like I said, thematic during St. Patty's Day, but it's on the bottom. I see it right there. It's on the bottom of my shelf there, and I guess it just gets forgotten for the rest of the year. But I love Corrigans. It started off on my list 4 years ago at 103, almost made my top 100, you know, that Cult of the New. And then it's been going down ever since. It went down 166, last year was at 221, and this year, despite me getting rid of a lot of games, it did shoot down a lot, 10 more spots, just because I only played it once. Anyway, though, I love it. All right, folks, that's it for now. I'll be back with some more rankings of my board games, the best of 2021.